It's the Depression to Expression podcast, my friends. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Seriously, I appreciate your ears. I appreciate the reviews. I appreciate your emails. I appreciate you. Now, we have quite the treat in this episode. Man, my friend Corinne, she has quite the story. You want to stay tuned for this one. She really made me realize how important our adolescence really is. And how what happens in childhood and through high school and elementary school can still have a profound impact on how we see the world and how we feel today. This is a story of tremendous adversity through bullying that she experienced. And man, she is such a bright and warm soul. And Corinne is actually a big supporter of Depression to Expression. She's on Patreon. She's a big supporter. And if you ever want to join Patreon and meet Corinne and meet me and join our live streams, couple bucks a month, you know where to go. Patreon.com/Depression to Expression. We'd love to have you there and have a great convo. So I'm done chatting. Are you ready for this? Okay. Thank you for your ears, my friends, and Corinne, I love you so much. Long Island, here comes the accent, a Canadian and an American, head to head. Here we go.
We're starting right now?
We're starting. This is it.
Wait, hold on. Let me get my coffee. I know I need to hold it. I'm getting nervous.
No, we're going to keep all this in.
Oh, no. All right.
Corinne, we're live, actually. I didn't tell you this was being live broadcast.
I hate you.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Okay, you got your coffee there. We're good.
We're good.
Welcome to Toronto.
Thank you.
What do you think of the city so far?
Beautiful. Everyone is really nice. I haven't seen any rats. It doesn't smell like sewage here like New York City.
Did you know New York City, though, actually has the best tap water in the world?
It does.
Yeah.
You're right.
Is there
Your tap water is like subpar and...
No, you're right. Actually,
no, it's actually not that bad. It's not that bad.
I didn't give you any tap water here. Maybe after, and you can do like a little comparison, right?
Yes.
Depends where. Like in my condo, the older pipes, so I put it through the Brita filter, but it has a little metal tang.
That's okay.
To it.
Yeah.
You kind of
get used to it. It doesn't sound that bad.
No, it's not that bad. So you're in Toronto for how long? Oh, for those listening and watching.
Yes.
Corinne is a longtime supporter of Depression to Expression. So obviously she's on the podcast, but she has quite the story that we want to get into, but we're going to keep it light first.
Yes.
Okay, so...
Breezy.
Yes, breezy. So you're from Long Island. And for those also listening, how do you say coffee in Long Island?
Coffee.
And how do you say all?
All.
And there you go.
All coffee, dog.
Dog. It's literally
Long Island, New York, Strong Island.
Dog it's literally DAWG.
I need
That's
to
how
say
you
that.
Yeah, dog.
How do you say it?
Dog. But then the Canadian
wrong,
accent
really.
is it's totally wrong.
It's incorrect.
Canadian accent is just a boat.
An A.
An A, which I love.
A.
I love saying A though.
I like it.
Yeah.
I might bring it back to Long Island.
You should.
Let's teach the people a thing or two.
Yeah, and just keep saying sorry to everyone, and then
Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah,
Sorry.
a lot.
Sorry.
How do I say sorry or sorry?
Sorry.
How do you say bagel?
I'm sorry. What?
Bagel or bagel?
Bagel.
Yeah, so I say bagel.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, it's bad.
I can't tell if you're being serious.
Well, for those also watching, Corinne's friend is in the room, and I think she was sitting here behind the camera, and she just left because I think she's laughing. Yeah, this is not.
Leave the room.
Yeah, this is. Okay, we got to start this.
Yes, let's
okay,
go.
Long Island. What's it all about? How has it been living there? Tell me what it's like. If I were to visit Long Island, what do I expect?
You expect from the east to the west of the entire island to be completely as if they're different states. So all the way out in the east is fields, farms, cows, things like that. Get to the middle, more suburbia. Then you go west and it's just completely shit after that because there's nowhere to park and you're going into the city. And it's beautiful. We're surrounded by beaches. There's a lot of places you can hike, kayaking, people surf. We have everything there.
That's beautiful. And you grew up there? You've been there your whole life?
Whole life.
And growing up in Long Island, what was it like as far as, let's start maybe in elementary school. What was your experience in elementary school in Long Island? Okay, so this is, a mental healthy kind of podcast.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like growing up? What was your childhood like?
Childhood was my family was completely together. It seemed that everything was perfect. Everything was perfect. I was safe, always felt safe. Parents were together. Every holiday, my dad's side and my mom's side would come together, huge parties. So that's what I was used to. And it was just comforting. And then when 6th grade came along, my parents got divorced. That's when shit hit the fan. And I've had a dysfunctional family, if you will, since then. I love them all to death, but it's been a roller coaster since then. Since 2001, 6th grade.
2001, 6th grade. It doesn't sound that long ago when you say 2001.
Because I feel like we're still in maybe 2008 when I graduated high school. So
I know. It's going to be 2020 next year.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. So when you think back to grade 6, I think what's really cool about memory and interesting is when you think back to your child self, you believe that you had the same brain as you do now.
Yes.
You kind of put yourself back into that moment as you're thinking now.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look back to grade 6 and what was going on, how did you deal with those things? Like the divorce and all of that?
So it was that was one of my first, to me, that was traumatic. So I've always been really super hypersensitive to everything. I'm an emotional person. I consider myself an empath for people that, some people that knows what that means. It's like I feel everything just super intensely and energies, and I'm just sensitive. So some kids wouldn't feel traumatized by their parents splitting up and then having to maybe move to a different school and make totally new friends. But to me, it was like my world was coming to an end. So I just started middle school. I had friends, I was making friends, and right in the beginning of middle school, start of it, parents got divorced, and me and my mom, my brother, we had to go live at my aunt and uncle's. My dad and my sister were at my house. We were all separated, and it was wild. And it was the first time I ever dissociated in my entire life.
In grade 6?
Grade 6.
Oh.
I can remember it like it was yesterday.
Okay, so I think the divorce part of your story, it's a common story for people, but it doesn't mean that it should go
To the extreme.
Or just like unnoticed and people shouldn't talk about it, because when you're younger, that's like, it's a big deal.
It is huge.
Yes.
But you keep it all in because it's like your parents, you don't have a say in anything. So if they say you're moving and you're up and leaving your house you've lived in your whole life and your neighborhood, your friends, you don't have a say in the matter and you feel helpless. So it was like my world was just completely rocked, and it was like we might have to go live in this small apartment. We don't know where we're going. Or is it going to be a house? Where is my dad going to go? Where is my mom? Where are any of us going? What is happening?
And I think a lot of people listening can connect to that. So this dissociative, or sorry, what did you call that?
First time I ever dissociated.
First time you dissociated. And are you still dealing with this dissociation? What is it called? Dissociative personality disorder?
So it's a dissociative disorder. So,
okay.
So to just lay it all out on the line so
Let's
everybody
do it.
knows. So
okay.
Let's start it. So I have complex PTSD.
Okay.
I have depersonalization disorder and derealization disorder. So anyone that doesn't know what that means, I'll explain it. So complex PTSD, the difference between complex and regular PTSD. Complex is when you experience traumatic events throughout a long period of time, like multiple, every day. It goes on and on and on. Regular PTSD is usually when just one event happens, when unfortunately someone just gets raped one time. Or, it's anything, you get physically abused. Maybe it's one time. But what I went through, which I told you, which I'll say, is that in high school, 11th grade, I was bullied every day for the entire year. So now, over the years, that was 2006, and we're in 2019. So from then, I have gone to therapists, I've been on different medications, and it's so much harder to deal with complex PTSD because you have multiple traumatic events that you're trying to process. This isn't just, it would be easier. I wish that I had one horrible traumatic event because it would be so much fucking easier to process.
Yeah.
Now I have a laundry list of things that were done to me that it is taken eons, it feels like, to process the trauma, which I'm still going through.
And but did this start in grade 6? Was there any bullying in grade 6?
So
from grade 6 to 11, what was going on in your life?
So actually, we ended up staying in my town. Me, my mom, my brother, my sister, my dad moved to a different town, which was still close to us. So we stayed. And in middle school, I was super skinny. And then that was the first time I was getting bullied a little bit. I still had a lot of friends, but it wasn't as extreme as high school. So people started saying I was bulimic or anorexic. And I'm like, and I would just I felt horrible. I would just look in the mirror and I started dissociating again because I was like, I can't change this about myself. And I couldn't do anything about it. I ate cheeseburgers every day. I had pizza. I couldn't do anything. And the kids are just horrible and relentless and they don't give a shit.
In grade 11, so all year you were bullied.
Yes.
And because of that, this has lasted or you've been working through and processing what has happened.
Yes.
What's that journey been like to reprocess that and kind of revisit those memories? Because when people hear about bullying, I don't think they really connect with how serious it can be and
Nope.
affect the psychology of someone in that critical state in grade 11,
Right.
when there's so much change happening and you're creating an identity for yourself and seeing how the world works. What's that process been like, dealing with that?
But when I started high school in 9th grade, that's when I really blossomed. I wasn't the shy girl anymore. I went to parties. I made so many friends. And then, I rubbed a lot of girls the wrong way when I had mostly guy friends because I guess I was just the chill one. I just got along with guys better. And I didn't like the catty girls. I wasn't like them. And they didn't like that I wasn't like them, I think. And so, then they all ganged up on me and, just, groups of girls, the quote-unquote popular group of girls. I was not friends with them. I never would be. A lot of people hated them, but they would never stand up to them because they would have something that's what I was being bullied and what was done to me. So over the years of processing, 11th grade has been an absolute fucking nightmare. And from 11th grade, I've had other traumatic things happen that may not be as extreme as that, but because I wasn't able to process 11th grade completely, now you're putting other events on top of that, and everything is getting layers and layers and layers, and takes so long to break through the layers for me to even get to the core of where this all started. So it's just this monumental hill of traumatic things then. So that's why it's been so hard, and I do trauma work in therapy, and it has taken a very long time for me to get where I am today.
So can we rewind then and maybe peel back some of the layers? If we were talking about, or you mentioned grade 6, that's when you dissociated for the first time.
Yes.
What does that feel like? And does that still happen to you?
Yes. So if you want, I'll tell you what happened. I remember it so vividly, as if I could be there right now, which is funny because when you dissociate, it's like you almost don't remember. But because it was so extreme, I couldn't believe the feeling that I got. I will never forget. I was walking through the hallways of middle school. I was on my way to history class. And I remember thinking, like, you know what? I was just questioning, I was going through the divorce and everything, and I felt so fucked up. And I was just like, you know what is this world? Where am I? What am I looking at? What is everything? I don't know. And then I was completely in my head. I wasn't even in my body. I was completely out of body, and I just was not here at all. And I was on autopilot. So I'm walking to my class, and then I see that no one is in my class. So I panic, and I'm like, oh my God, what day is it? What time is it? What period is it right now? What class am I going to? And I started having a full-on, that was like my first panic attack. It was so extreme because I wasn't expecting it. And I saw one of the kids from my class like pass by, and I grabbed him and I was like, where is everyone? He's like, we're going to the auditorium. He's like, do you not see it says it on the chalkboard? I'm like, oh, okay. Because when you're dissociating, it's like all of your senses are almost super heightened that you can't focus on things around you. Like I can't like calmly relax and be like, oh, let me look at the chalkboard. Oh, it says that. It's like all of a sudden everything just becomes blurry. Right. I can't see the world as if like spatially the correct way that it is. It feels like I'm looking through binoculars but backwards.
That's a really good description.
I know, actually. I thought of that on the way here.
That is really? That's
I was like,
really
that's
good.
Really, I think that it's a good way to describe dissociating.
So during this dissociation moment, well, first of all, how long did that last? But when you were maybe walking, did you feel in control of your movements of your body? Did you feel like it was someone else controlling the body, but you were in your mind?
Yes. It was almost like my body wasn't my own. Like I was just walking. It's, you know what it is? The best way I could describe it too for anyone that doesn't really truly understand what it could feel like. So imagine when you're driving and you're going from point A to point B and you're just all of a sudden you finally get to your destination and you're just like, oh wow, like I don't even remember, like how did I even get here? Like I just drove on autopilot. So imagine that, but 10 times more extreme, and it's 24/7.
Wow.
It makes you feel like you're crazy. And for anyone that's truly listening right now, I want to say that, you know, anxiety, depression, any disorders that you deal with, and you start thinking like, oh my God, I'm going insane. I feel like I'm insane. I feel like I'm going crazy. Like this anxiety is so intense. Or if you have the dissociative shit, it makes you feel like you're literally going insane. But I want everyone to know that if you're questioning and you're scared of the fact that you're going insane, I will tell you, you are not. Because an actual real quote unquote crazy or insane person, they're not scared of it. They're not worrying about it. They just are. They just are, and that's what they are. And they don't question it. So you're not, if you are worried about that.
No, that's a great point. So if we move from then grade 6 through grade 11, was dissociation, were you dealing with that all through those years to grade 11? Or did it stop?
It completely stopped for the most part.
Yeah.
Like in the middle of middle school, because I was only dissociating a little bit, barely, maybe like once in a blue moon, just from if I thought about the divorce or if I thought about being bullied, about being called anorexic and bulimic, and I would look at myself in the mirror and I would be like, I would have so much anxiety, I would feel so disgusted with myself that I felt like I could just throw up. Like I literally, it was so intense and horrible. And it was like, you know, the kids just, they don't give a shit. They just want to like make fun of someone or bully them. But then again, I had a lot of friends too. So it wasn't so extreme. Like people weren't alienating me like when 11th grade came around. So from middle school to 11th grade, I was fine. I was doing great now. I blossomed. I had so many friends. I was getting invited to all the parties, like kids above my grade, because my grade kind of sucked during that time. But I mean, people like throughout the years after high school, I've actually become friends with a lot of people in my grade. Like we've connected, we're all more mature now, whatever. But I was friends with all the grades above me. So I was getting, you know, invited to those parties. And then when 11th grade came around, that's when shit hit the fan.
And by shit hitting the fan, do you want to go into this type of bullying? Because it's...
Yes.
You know, as I mentioned, people think of bullying as not as traumatic as it actually can be and is. Mm-hmm. So what was that experience like? Because I know a lot of listeners too, they've either been there or they're going through that, and it's a feeling of not belonging and that you're doing something wrong. Mm-hmm. And you may not know what that is. You might be the
problem, but you're not the problem. It's them.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's total mind fuck.
It's a total, mind fuck. You're completely turning yourself inwards and thinking everything is your fault because the world around you is pointing fingers saying you're the problem. Right. So what was that like? What were they doing?
So basically, I'll just spit it all out. So basically, I had my group of girlfriends. They were my best friends. And I thought, and there was just a select couple of them, maybe like 5 of them. And, you know, I thought like they were my ride or die. Like I'd take a bullet for them. They would take a bullet for me. But I was always the different one in the group. I was always the tomboyish one. I was always the one that was like, I don't know, I just more like chill. Like I wasn't like, you know, the prissy. They all had these sides to them that was more like, we're going to go to the club. We're going to go do this and do that. And we want to, you know, like very on the surface people, basically. And I was way deeper than that. Mm-hmm. And that's why I always was the different one in the group. So I didn't totally fit in, but they were still my best friends. So meanwhile, I didn't realize what was going on behind the scenes. They were all of a sudden, it was like they must have one day collectively said, you know what, we're going to fucking annihilate Corinne and ruin her life. Because you know what? She's all pissed us off a little bit. Oh, you know what? She pissed me off because she became friends with my ex-best friend, who I'm not friends with anymore. And I didn't know these social rules. I'm like I'm a go with the flow. I'm like, I love people. If I get along with you, I'm like, I don't care what anyone else says. Like, if I think you're cool, then I think you're cool. I need to see things for myself firsthand. And that rubbed a lot of girls the wrong way. And I had a lot of guy friends. And like, I think one time I made one of their boyfriends laugh at a joke, and that pissed her off. So it was all the insecurities. It was jealousy. Mm-hmm. It was this and that. I'm not boasting. That's the honest truth. And before, I'll never forget. So right before 11th grade started, I pissed off the popular girl group who sucked.
Let's call it like it is, man.
I mean, yeah, everyone knows that fucking group, and they're terrible, and nobody fucking likes them, but they're scared of them because just the way they are. Nobody wants to fuck with them because they're assholes. And they're very, you know, materialistic. They're just mean. Like, they are bullies. And if they see you and you're like that shy kid or something, or they end up picking on you half the time because that's just what they do. So the summer before, I ended up like making out with one of their ex-boyfriends. And I was not aware that this was an issue. I didn't think that would be an issue because I'm like, who cares? Why would this matter? So then they found out, and right in the beginning of 11th grade, that was when my group of best friends collectively came together and fucking hated me and tried to ruin my life. And on top of that, now I had this huge group of popular girls that wanted to destroy me because I pissed off this one girl because I made out with her ex-boyfriend over the summer. And they didn't like that. They were pissed off.
Wow.
So that's how this all began.
High school it's a jungle.
Mm-hmm.
You're in a very closed off bubble, and it can be considered like dog eat dog, do or die. It's that kind of mentality.
The vines in the jungle, and I can't move.
And you need to still go to. You still need to show up. You still need to go to school.
Right.
Did you talk to anyone about this? Was your family a support? Were there counselors at school?
So this is great. This is a great story too.
Okay.
So my family, obviously, they were super supportive. They were devastated that I was getting bullied by them. And it's funny because now I was never a kiss ass with teachers. That's just not my style. I really don't give a shit. I come to school and then I go home. I'm not like those girls, because there are those girls that are all chummy with teachers and they're like the popular ones. And a lot of teachers get off on that and they like them.
Yeah, give the teacher an apple. Yeah.
Right. And it's so stupid. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, who cares? So that wasn't me. Again, I was different. People didn't like that. And I didn't care. And I just never gave a shit. So the school, this was such a big issue that it got around to teachers that I was the problem. Because there is this massive group of girls, they're spreading rumors about me, saying like I'm a slut, this and that. And keep in mind, I didn't even have sex yet. I did nothing, really, which is hysterical.
Yeah.
So it got around to teachers, and they're like, this girl, Corinne, must be a problem. Because all these girls who are all chummy with us, they think that they're saying that she's a problem. So the school did not believe me. No. The upper guys, my entire school, the staff, the fucking principal, did not believe me. They thought I was the issue. And I'll never forget, because one time as the school year, as right in the beginning of the school year, this happened. And as time went by, the issues were getting what they were doing to me, which I'll get into later, what they actually did to me. But all of a sudden I realized I had no friends. I had one friend in that school, in that year, that grade, one of my best guy friends, who I'm still friends with to this day. He was the only friend I had in my entire grade. Everyone else alienated me, did not talk to me, refused to be nice to me because they didn't want to be me. So they would rather be a fucking coward and be a sheep and stick with that side and be like, yeah, you know what? Fuck Corinne. So because of all that, they stuck with them, and literally no one would talk to me. So I had one friend, and he stuck by me the entire time and was like, fuck these girls. He's my only friend in my entire grade. And that meant so much to me. And it's still, I could like cry. Like that means to this day, that meant so much to me, because if it wasn't for him, and it's like, that was hard. And during this whole process, the grade above me saved me. They all became my best friends. They're the coolest grade in my entire high school, that to this day, we are all still best friends, and we're a big group of people. And I would probably not be alive today if it wasn't for them. I wouldn't be. I really wouldn't be. From the shit, they saved me. Wow. And they all know who they are, because I'm friends with them all to this day. And I've been with their shit. They've had shit go on. I've had my shit. And it's like, I'd take a bullet for them, and they would for me too. And it's like, we're all still cool. They're the chill grade. They're the party grade. Yeah. Everyone got along. My grade sucked. And everyone knew that. Like, Corinne, your grade fucking sucked.
Yeah.
Like, I know. I'm fully aware of that.
Yeah.
I'm friends with a lot of them now, though, over the years. And it's funny because a couple of the girls, not the popular group of girls, because I was never friends with them, but a couple of girls that I was friends with, the ones that turned on me, over the years, a couple of them actually apologized to me for what they did.
No kidding.
But I'm going to tell you something. What's wrong with that, for me still, is because, you know what? That means so much to me that you can apologize to me because you feel horrible because you've grown up now and you realize that you did such a fucked up thing to me and it was terrible. And I just stand there like, you know what? Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you for saying sorry. And in my head, I'm like, if you only knew the damage you've done that I'm still dealing with this to this day, you wouldn't even fucking believe what has happened to me and the reality that I live in now. You have destroyed me, but I never let the world destroy me because thankfully I have the strong willpower in my mind. I'm like, I don't care how much every day is hell and torture for me. I'm never giving up because fuck that. I'm never going to let any of them win. That's
powerful. And I think if there was an audience here, I think we'd all stand up and applaud that one. No, that is really powerful. Is there something that when these people confront you, whether it was it like on email or Facebook, did they call you?
Well, one of them was actually the year after this actually happened. One of them through Facebook messaged me and said sorry. So that was one of the girls. Another one, we went to the same college and I saw her at the library and I was like, and I just like ignored her because I still didn't give a fuck. I was like, okay, like I'm not being bullied anymore. You don't fucking faze me. I'm not scared of you. Mm-hmm. So I'm on the line in the library in this college and she's standing behind me and I'm like, please don't talk to me because I don't want to fucking talk to you. And she taps me on the shoulder. She's like, Corinne, hi, blah, blah, blah. I'm like catching up. I'm like, oh yeah, cool. I've been amazing. Great. And then she's like, you know what? I really want to say to you, I know this is random, but I am so sorry for what I did to you. And like completely amazing, heartfelt.
Yeah.
Sorry. But the problem is that there is so much collateral damage that has destroyed me over the years. No, so this is like 11, 12 years after. And I'm still dealing with the after effects of what you all did to me. So and they always, there's like a thing. It's like, you say sorry for you, not for their reaction, which is conflicting for me because it's like, when you've already, it's great. I'm so happy that you've come to this realization that what you did was wrong, and you're saying sorry because you want to clear your conscience and you want to let me know, yeah, I'm sorry. But little do you know is that you did so much damage that you can't even see, because I have this poker face.
Yeah.
And I'm really good at it.
Yeah. Okay, so if you could choose, if they were to apologize, what could they say or do that would make that apology seem more real and do more for you? Is there anything?
Absolutely nothing.
There's nothing they can do?
Because they're not walking in my shoes.
Yeah.
They can't be my therapist. They can't do anything for me. Nothing they could say or do would ever fucking make me feel a better feeling and make me feel better about them saying sorry. But then again, I'm like, wow, it's amazing. Like, that's really great. I feel really great that you did that. But unfortunately, I am still dealing with all these issues that you can't rectify, and I can barely rectify myself. So every day it's a struggle. It's an uphill battle every day. When I have my good days, I have my good days. When I have my bad days, I have my fucking bad days where I feel like shit and I can't leave my room because I feel paralyzed by my anxiety and paranoia, and I'm always on red alert. I'm like, I feel like I'm in a war zone. I'm in survival mode. I'm still to this day in survival mode.
Does that then mean that, and I'm not judging any choice or anything because I myself have not walked in your shoes, so just a question, does that mean that you haven't forgiven these people, or have you, or how does that process even work?
It's funny that you're asking that, because I've asked myself that over the years, and I know I usually, in almost every situation that has ever happened to me, I'm like, you know what, I will forgive, but I won't forget. Every time. But this situation is a little bit more stickier. And it's like, I guess the best way I could put it is like, I will half forgive you. I will never fully forgive you because of the hell that I'm living in. Because it's so extreme. So for me, I know that it's like, you know, when you forgive someone, it doesn't mean you're accepting, and it's okay what happened to you, what they did to you. And I get that. But to be inside my head and my body for 5 minutes, I think anyone would agree. How could I forgive these people fully because of what I'm dealing with now and my mental health?
Yeah.
So I can't say that I would fully forgive them. I'll never forget. I remember every conversation. I have a really great memory for somebody who dissociates all the time, which is rare.
Okay.
I remember like every conversation, every event, everything that happened to me, which is like a blessing and a curse.
Well, I think forgiveness is a selfish thing to do. Like, you don't do it for the other person. So
No.
then it's for you
It's
to
for you.
release. And it's totally, if you say I'll half forgive you, or I'll forgive, but I won't forget,
Yeah.
that I can totally understand.
You know what? There is something this saying that I did learn, because I have totally forgiven them to a certain extent, in the way that it's like, if your like your anger and hate towards somebody, it's almost like you're drinking poison and expecting them to die. So that's like what it is. So I've totally forgiven myself for almost not forgiving them, if that makes sense. Like, it's not like I don't have any hate in my heart. I really don't for that. But at the same time, it's like in this other spectrum of forgiveness, I can't do that kind of forgiveness for them, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, no, it does.
I know
yeah.
it sounds confusing.
No, you don't.
But it's
you're
complicated.
not. Yeah, you're not making yourself feel guilty.
Yeah.
It's more of self-love and understanding for yourself.
I get it. It's
that's
life.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after all of this fucked up shit happened, how has it manifested over the years? Because I know you've had traumatic experiences physically and mentally over the years too, which we can get into. But but from that bullying, we'll just use that one word, although it is a big umbrella term.
Yeah.
How has that manifested and affected the rest of your days after that? So
it's really easy for me to assume that somebody is out to get me. They have different motives. And logically, I know all this isn't true, but unfortunately with PTSD, it's emotionally branded in your brain. So that's what PTSD is. It's like you have to through therapy and EMDR and things like that, it's like you are rewiring your brain. You're connecting these neural pathways that have almost these knots in them. Like there's like a knot here, there's a knot there. This is this event, this one, and when I'm around large groups of women or girls, whatever, where I work, like 90% of the people I work with, it's a lot. There's like 40 employees. I work at an office.
Yeah.
And the only men there are the doctors. And there's just a couple of them. All the other ones are women. And I love all of them to death. I do. But every day there's still that feeling of like just the fact that I'm physically in a facility where I'm surrounded by girls gives me anxiety. Just because I am there and I feel like I'm still in survival mode. So because of what happened in 11th grade. So logically I know that I'm fine, but if there's any little tips between any of us, or they start drama, because people can be fucking dramatic and I like to go to work and I like to leave because I don't like drama. I never have, but some people get off on that. And I don't think it's funny. I'm not entertained by this. I'm going to get pissed off and I am going to blow up on you because I'm like, I need you to shut the fuck up. I need the drama to stop. Why are you doing this? Why is this? And why are you entertaining this? It's so meaningless. It's such a waste of time. Yeah. Why is this a thing right now? It's so trivial to me. It's a waste of time. What are you doing with your life?
I think, but I don't want to put thoughts in and make you relate to your experience any differently. No, but fine. Do you think that's a blessing that maybe came out of that?
Oh,
that you have no room for that bullshit and what happens in the workplace and with other relationships that you're creating?
Yes.
And it's like
100%.
As you said, like what this drama is meaningless. Why are you wasting your time? Like have you seen
It's amazing.
Yeah, have you seen any other positives that
So many positives.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Yeah. So there are at the same time I'm so grateful that these things have happened to me, because I almost have to look at it that way. It's like, you know what, if I can't change the past, then I have to think about it differently, because I have to move forward and I can't let this destroy me. Yeah. So I'm going to look at the positives and I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't be the person I am today. I'm very real. I'm raw. I'm very blunt and honest. And I don't have any tolerance for bullshit, assholes, drama, and I like it that way, because you also filter through people. I can smell bullshit from a mile away. Yeah. And if someone thinks they're manipulating me, or they can get me to do or say something, and then meanwhile it's like you're stuck in here and I'm seeing everything from all these aspects. So yeah. I'm not going to entertain whatever you're trying to do or whatever it is. So I'm happy that I am the way I am. I think it's amazing. And I have to remind myself, you know what, you are an amazing person for what you went through, because you wouldn't be this way if you didn't go through that.
I think you can be also, and you are now, but a beautiful and real voice for children and kids that are going through bullying, because hey, boys have their own troubles in middle school through there's a big problem in a boy epidemic with learning and socializing and all that.
Yeah.
But girls can be assholes and vicious. Mental games.
Oh no.
Boys will wrestle.
Right. Easier. That's easier.
Yeah, well,
I
wish. I wish I just got punched in the face.
That would have been great.
It's the mind games are what really
fucks you up.
It's torture. Wow.
It's total insanity.
So you can smell bullshit from a mile away now. You're choosing your friends wisely and have this beautiful filter that you've created for who will support you in life, and you have those friends since high school. Are they mostly male friends that helped you through that? There was the one guy.
Yes.
And then the upper grades.
Yes. So I would say that most of them, maybe like 60-40. 60% of my friends are my guy friends. And I have made over the years, because of this filter that I've acquired, I have made so many amazing girlfriends. And it's a select few, but it's like I have come to terms with the fact that not every girl is going to be like those girls, and I have to give them a chance. And then I do, and then I'm like, holy shit, this is a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I still am making new friends. Like some people are like, oh, like no new friends, whatever. Like, that's stupid saying. Like, people, like, you know, they like don't want to make any new friends or something.
I've never heard
like,
that saying. That seems weird.
It is weird. It's like,
Okay.
I forgot the exact saying, but it's just like no new friends. Like, that's like this attitude that I have. Like, I don't need any new friends, you know?
Okay, yeah.
It's like this attitude, like this type of like,
I have enough already. No room for something like that.
Something like that. So it's like, but I totally disagree. Even being here right now, it's like, I consider you a friend. It's like we've become, right? It's like, and just the fact of just being here in Canada doing this is like, if you told me months ago this is what I would be doing when I was like watching your YouTube videos and just like learning about anxiety and depression and your take on things, I'd be like that's amazing and insane, and there's no way.
Yeah.
And I feel so grateful that I'm here doing this with you.
Just you saying that locked me in the moment right now, where I'm like, oh yeah, Corinne's in front of me right now.
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
I have to keep remembering that. I'm like,
Me too.
Wait a second.
Yeah, because you came in, I saw you downstairs, we came up, we were chatting, but now it's like, oh yeah, you're on my couch. Like, this is so
you're
cool.
You're a real person.
You are real. And there's something about that in-person connection, of course.
Yes.
Do you find that, so through bullying and if we connect to our past that way, we have these tendencies as we get older. That's a well-known psychological fact, and you've spun it in a beautifully positive way, and you're working through these things with a therapist, and you're doing all this awesome stuff for self-improvement to work on you. Do you find that in your friendships, you first steered towards men as friends, which a lot of women, there's less drama, but I feel like that's also a choice a lot of women are making too.
See, that's the thing. A lot of my girlfriends, my best girlfriends, we are all the same. We are all the same in that manner. We all have more guy friends than girlfriends because there's just a select few. And we're all friends with the same guy friends over the years because they're just like, they're our best friends. So that's why we get along, because we are all the same.
Are you able to maybe generalize, or just from your own experience, why you think men make better friends in certain ways than women? Are there certain things you can do with men that you can't do with women, and vice versa, or things to talk about?
I feel like with guys, it's simpler. Everything is just more simple. It's more, not that it's on the surface.
We're dumb. I get it. Okay, yeah.
Simple-minded conversations, if you will. Nothing too complicated.
Yeah.
No, it's just, I mean, the best way I could describe it is just they're more chill. I don't know. It's hard to, it's just their energies. It's just having those guy friends, and they're just, I don't know, it just seems easier because I guess it's also, I might be more, you know, I'm swaying that way more because of what happened to me too, I guess. But with girls though, it's like, the girlfriends that I have are truly my ride or die because I know that they are. We've gotten into arguments, all that stuff. And when you can get into arguments with your best friends and the next day you're fine, that's how you know they're a true friend. Because you can say something to them, agree to disagree, or have a complete blowout. And I've had all of our guy friends, they've gotten to haven't gotten physical fights with each other. And they're still friends to this day because it's like, we're going to get over this, and I was drunk or something, or who cares? It's like, you're like, there's such amazing, meaningful people in my life. And again, if I did not have these people in my life in high school, which still friends with them to this day, our big group, which is so rare, I probably would not be sitting here right now. I really, truly don't think I would be.
Do you ever talk to the friends now that you've had since high school about these events in high school and bullying and how shitty that was? What's their take on it?
I've had them actually say to me, you know what, Corinne, I might be a little older than you, but I look up to you and I respect you, and I think you're one of the most amazing, strongest people I've ever met. And once in a blue moon, I will have those awesome conversations over the years with them because they knew, and they know exactly what happened to me because they were there for me every day through all the things that I was being put through, that was done to me, and then what I ended up doing to myself too, and in return, the unhealthy habits, which we can go into and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're all, and that's what's amazing about it, is because they know the raw, real truth of what happened, what took place, what I went through, and it doesn't faze them. because they're real people, because they're like truly amazing, like big-hearted people. They have souls. They're deep.
Yeah.
We have fun. We care about each other. Like they could tell me anything that happens and I wouldn't blink an eye, and I'd be like, I'm here for you. I don't care what it is.
Wow. It doesn't matter if people have been through some traumatic experience or what age or what gender. It's like we're all looking for those real friends and people that we can really count on, and people that need us, and the people that are there for us. So that's amazing to hear that you have that circle.
Support system.
You need the support system.
That's what I wanted to say too.
Yeah.
You anyone listening to this, if you feel, one of the most important things is to truly try and have a support system. If that means even just one person, that's still something. And it, not that you're depending on them, but if even a shoulder to lean on. If you have a support system, you are fucking golden. If you really are you don't, it's a lot harder. It's going to be a lot harder. So if you can just try and find some kind of support system, that is what saved me. And actually, and one of my favorite movies that's still totally underrated is Green Street Hooligans.
I've never heard of that.
It's fine.
Okay.
But Elijah Wood is actually the main character. Charlie Hunnam is in it. It's about these gangs in London, which I know sounds kind of stupid in a way, but basically it's like you see how they all become amazing, close friends that have each other's backs. So the saying is, one of the quotes that always resonated with me that I'll never forget is main character, he says, he's like the best part about it is that it's not knowing that your friends have your back, but it's knowing you have your friends' backs. Which
yes,
I
completely
love. And
wow.
I totally feel that and agree with it. And it makes me feel better. Like, oh my God, that's amazing that I would do anything for these people. Yeah. Like, I love having that feelings. That means something.
Well, that's such an innate emotion and need that we have as people. It's like, not that we can count on other people, but you're here for a reason because people are counting on you, and that people depend on you, and you need to be somewhere at a certain time, and that you're needed. That's like,
I'll drop anything for my friends because I know they would do the same, and I love that I would do that. It makes me feel, almost makes you feel like special and good about yourself. Like, wow, like I'm an amazing human being, and I would fucking do anything for these people, and I love that.
Wow. And yeah, if you're getting up in the morning and no one gives a shit if you get up or stay in bed, it's harder to move through the day.
100%.
So, when you're even if it's you work at one of these big office buildings and people are like, oh, Bill's not here. It's like, no, okay, Bill wants to get up because you're depending on him, right? So that's a huge piece. Okay, so if we fast forward through your story now, and we can talk more about the physical. Well, it all manifests physically too, but you were diagnosed with
complex PTSD.
Yes.
Depersonalization disorder.
Yes.
And derealization disorder.
Okay, and
along with anxiety and depression.
But what about the C word?
Oh, and I had cancer at 21.
You just throw that in there with the mental illness.
I forgot about that. Yep.
Well, what do you, obviously in your experience, what was more work and energy intensive recovery between cancer and the mental health problems?
So cancer was one of the I know this is going to sound insane, but this was one of the most peaceful times and happiest I was.
That's insane.
And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay, please do.
I'm going to explain.
Let me get comfy for this one.
I know.
You comfy? Okay.
So I'm going to explain right now.
Okay.
So my life, ever since 6th grade, when my parents got divorced, I felt that because I am hypersensitive. So I was getting attention from my family, but I felt that I was still almost being forgotten about. My needs weren't being met. Emotionally, mentally, my family was falling apart. Everyone's separated. I feel like I wasn't getting the attention that I used to get. I felt like I was like an afterthought in a way, which they didn't treat me like that. That's just how I perceived it because I don't know, I'm an emotional person. Like, I'm very deep rooted and I feel things intensely. And after everything happened in high school too, I felt initially no love. I just felt complete hate towards me. And then again, my friends who saved me, so much love. And then when I got cancer at 21, it was like all of a sudden I was being visited every day by all of my friends. People cared about me more. It was amazing to see like how in this insane situation, it was amazing to see how people were treating me. It was like, oh my God, I have amazing people in my life. And for this to be diagnosed with cancer that I didn't know what my demise was yet, they stuck by me every day. And that feeling was one of the best feelings that I have ever experienced. So I wasn't happy I had cancer. I mean, but I'm just saying that it was like I was getting the attention and care. And I saw that people really, truly cared about me. And that was a feeling that I didn't have for a while.
When you were 21, were you in university or college?
I was like in and out of college
Okay.
over the years. Like I went to a couple of semesters, I stopped, I took a break. But at that time, I don't think I was going to school. I was working, but I wasn't going to school at that point, so I don't think it was an issue.
Okay. But
Yeah.
these people that were visiting you day in, day out, were those the
Best friends.
best friends from high school?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why this is so deep rooted for me, because out of everything, they were there for me in 11th grade. And now I had this crazy diagnosis where it was like, oh my God, these people are so amazing. I'm like, I don't even know that I deserve this. I'm like, this is such an insane time in my life right now. So it's not that I didn't want to die from the cancer. That's not what I wanted, but it was like, and I was happy that, thank God, I came out on top. I cheated death, and I'm so insanely lucky because I had skin cancer. And I had a melanoma, which is one of the worst ones, to have. So It was a spot on my ankle. I had it for a couple of months, and it just looked like a clear, like, blister almost. And I remember I kept picking at it, and I was like, why isn't this going away? And melanomas are usually dark. They're like a dark birthmark.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, why don't we just go to the dermatologist, get it taken off? I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. Get it taken off. You have to wait 2 weeks to get back the biopsy. So I was waiting 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden, the dermatologist's office calls me, and they're like, you need to come in immediately. We need to talk to you about your biopsy. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, we took that off. It's fine. Like, what the hell are you? They're like, no, you need to get here right now. This is like 8:00 at night or something. I'm like, I didn't even know they were open. I'm like,
yeah, right.
I'm like, what? I'm like, why are you calling me so late?
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, fine. And in my head at that time, I don't know if I was dissociating, but I wasn't worried about it at all. Like, I had no thoughts of cancer whatsoever. I didn't even know what that meant to me. I was like, I don't know what they're going to tell me. I have no idea. I'm like, I'm sure it'll be fine. But I told my mom, she was the first person I called, and she knew. She told me that she knew what that meant. And I truly did not know what they were about to tell me. So I went there.
Yeah.
They sat me down, and they're like, so you have skin cancer, Corinne. I'm like you have cancer. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, so what now? And they're like, I don't know if you're understanding. I'm like, they're like, you have cancer though, so you're gonna have to have surgery. Also, we sent out your biopsy to multiple labs, and they were excited to see your biopsy, which is not good, because it was a very rare aggressive case. Because I'm special. I'm like, why would it not be?
They use the word, they're excited to
Yes.
see your case?
Yes. They're like excited, like interested. Like, these are like science people that
Oh,
are
I
like,
guess.
holy shit,
Something different.
under this microscope, look at this. This is crazy. Look at these cells multiplying.
Oh my God.
At a rapid rate. This is crazy. Let's
Yeah.
send it. You are like, hey, you guys at the other lab, do you want to see this one too? Because this is really cool, you know?
Oh my God.
And obviously, I know they didn't truly feel like that, but
Yeah,
like, as
yeah.
a science person, I'm sure it's super interesting.
Yeah.
So they were like, if you found this spot 6 months later, you would have only had 5 to 6 years to live, hands down.
Holy shit.
So I was 6 months away from being totally fucked. I would have been 6 feet under like 2 years ago. I wouldn't even be sitting here. So I was insanely lucky. My mom ultimately saved me, because I was just going to let it stay. I'm like, oh, whatever, I'm sure it'll go away. That was my plan.
Yeah.
It was an afterthought. I'm like, why would this be cancerous? It looks like a blister. So I am extremely lucky, and I am, you know what, not everyone gets the luxury of going through a life and death situation and coming out on top and having it completely change your life.
You consider it a luxury?
Yeah, I do. Because I have to.
Yeah.
Because why would I look at it like God, it was such a terrible experience. I can't believe I had cancer. It's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? It's over with. I came out on top, and I'm fine. And every 6 months for the rest of my life, I have to get a body scan done. Or I have to stand in the middle of the room naked, and they're measuring every little birthmark on my entire body. And they have a whole, like, I'm like known in my dermatologist's office. I'm like a celebrity there, if you will. Like, this is the girl that had this insane cancer at 21. And if I like cancel an appointment, like, okay, I'll call to reschedule. Like, Corinne, you need to reschedule with us right now on the phone. Like, they will hunt me down.
Whoa.
So I never mess around with it.
Okay.
And I've had 2 other spots taken off since then, which were atypical cells. So that basically means that they could have turned into cancer. We don't know how long it would have taken for it to turn into cancer. So we're going to take this off. They take it off, and then I get the call. Like, okay, so now we're going to have to go back in and scoop more out, and here's another scar.
Sheesh. Was this just the surgery that you had, and then that was it? Or did you have chemotherapy or radiation?
No. See, that's the thing. I did not have to go through chemo. I didn't have to go through radiation. I was insanely lucky. I didn't have to do any of that. If it was after the 6-month mark that they told me, yes, I would have had to go through that and attempted to maybe last a couple more years longer than 5 to 6. So I was I literally cheated death. Like, it couldn't have worked out any more perfectly for me.
Now, would you consider yourself a spiritual person?
Yes,
Do
definitely.
you believe everything or most things happen for a reason?
Most things.
Most things.
Because sometimes there's no rhyme or reason why something happens, and that's just life. And so a kid could be diagnosed with cancer at like 5 and pass away. It's like, well, why would that be meant to be? How could you look at that and be like, oh, it was probably meant to be?
Yeah.
You know, because it's hard for those situations. So I think there are times where there truly is just, there's only so much that, like, the energy of the universe can control everything, or there's some higher power, and there's some things that really truly have no meaning to them. I think it's just life, and it's not perfect, and it sucks sometimes. But if it was perfect and everything worked out, then like what would this place be? Right.
It would be a boring, straightforward story.
Exactly.
So I think what fascinates me about your story, and I'll see how this turns into a question. I'm not sure. Or maybe you can just comment. But you probably had like this very cynical view of people due to the experience in high school, and like you hated women and hated how people can treat other people so terribly. So you had that, and then on the total end of the spectrum, then you ended up loving people and your close friends, and it brings you to like this. You said you barely even think you deserve it sometimes because these people are so amazing.
Yes.
So you experience like the shittiest of the shitty that comes out of the human spirit. And then you saw like angels pop out of people on this end too.
Yes.
So where's this going? Do you feel grateful? You said you feel grateful for this shitty experience that you had because it makes this seem that much better. If people are listening and they're dealing with the shitty side and they're having trouble building relationships, or they feel very cynical about the world and feel like, sometimes some people feel like they don't deserve love, or they're not going to meet the right people ever, what would you say to them?
I would say to absolutely not live. You can't try and not live by those thoughts, because I am complete proof that that's not correct. There are so many loving, amazing people in the world, and you have to remember that, because there truly are shitty people in the world. We all know that. There's murderers, psychopaths, there's people who shoot up schools. Those are the shitty people, I'd say. But there is so much good in the world. And there is. Sometimes, some days I feel like there isn't those still. I still have those days. But for the most part, I'm like, I have to remind myself, like, wow, there actually are really, truly loving, amazing, caring people in the world, and you should not take them for granted. Even if you could find one person that you can say that about, then that is still something. And make it matter to you.
I think your friend that helped you through high school, that one guy, that is like such great proof that one person can just like save a life, make a huge impact on someone else. I think that's a really beautiful thing. On those days where you feel like the world sucks and you're going through, you know, that paranoia, anxiety, depression, what are some Corinne takeaway tips? What are some things that you do during those moments that get you through those days?
So, I mean, over the years, I've learned so much through therapy, CBT, DBT, EMDR, all these different things, grounding techniques.
The ABC,
ABCs. But the best thing that you can do, I think, is to try and, sometimes I like to meditate. Sometimes you have to do something physical. If I'm really angry, I feel like I need to get that aggression out. And, you know, if I can get myself to the gym, which is hard enough, but if you could do that, that helps. You have to if you could just try and ground yourself and get back into the present moment somehow. Do some kind of techniques. Try and just, it's not like it's so much, you can't just be like, oh, I'm thinking negatively, I have to think positively now, because that's not going to work. It's not going to work because you're not going to believe it. If you think, you know what, I feel super ugly, it's not going to help by saying, I look like fucking Angelina Jolie or J-Lo.
Yeah, just take one thought, replace, we're good. Yeah.
Your brain, you're not going to believe it. So that's not going to work. So you have to find this gray area almost. Like, you know what? Even if I feel like I look like I'm ugly, it's like, all right, maybe I feel like that, but I'm sure there are things that could make me feel more beautiful. Let me think, what are those things? Try and get inside your head and tweak it and find it. Journaling is amazing. Anyone who's listening, if you don't journal, you need to start journaling. Because it's almost like you're taking the trash out.
Right.
That's what you're doing. It's like you're getting it down on paper, you're seeing it visually with your own eyes, and it's like you're just like almost throwing up all these horrible thoughts.
Yeah. Do these thoughts sometimes, so when they plague these days, you find journaling a huge mode of expression for you?
Yes. But there are days where I feel so shitty and I'm so in it that I can't even write. There are days that I just really can't do anything. There are those days where I'm like, I am not going to ground myself right now because I don't have it in me. And I just feel like I'm just paralyzed with anxiety and depression. I don't want to even leave my bed. I don't want to do anything. I'm just going to watch Netflix all day, and that doesn't help. But I always get out of it, whether it takes a day or a couple of days or even a week. As long as you don't give up, things will still get better. They will. Even if you see a glimpse of something positive or something getting better, roll with it and remember it and keep, I think, just reminding yourself of those little moments, just like how little things that people have done for me and supported me in the worst times of my life, I have to keep reminding myself of these people that are in my life, and there is hope and there are amazing, loving people. Not everyone is an asshole.
Not everyone is an asshole. Oh my gosh, should we make those shirts for the group?
Yes!
Not everyone is an asshole.
Everyone is an asshole.
That's great.
There's still hope.
Yeah, there is still hope. I think on that beautiful note, we will leave it, although I still have a million more questions, but we can do a part 2. Okay. When you come to Toronto or I come to Long Island.
Sounds
one day
good.
soon.
Yes.
Corinne, thank you so much for coming on the Depression to Expression podcast.
No problem.
All listeners, stay strong, keep being you, and don't forget to express yourself.
End scene.